Welcome to the Traitors, a Traitors podcast. My name is David Bloomberg, and I'm your host for Season 1 of the Traitors Canada. The Traitors features deep dives into every episode of the multi-award-winning hit TV competition show, The Traitors, as well as interviews with contestants from the show. Today, we're talking about the Traitors Canada Episode 8, and I have another fun guest as I welcome my friend and fellow podcaster, Sarah Carradine.
Hello, David. You're right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone who doesn't know, from my other podcasts, I have a sign up that says, David, you're right,
Yes,
for the video podcasts. So,
I was just Ron Burgundy. It was in front of my eyes, so
yes.
I said it.
Yes.
But it's also my opinion that you are right.
I think it's a fact, but yes. Now, for people who may not know this, Sarah had me on her podcast to discuss Traitors New Zealand, and which is not where she lives. You may have noticed a slight accent depending on where you're from, but it's close. So it seemed only right to have you on here for Traitors Canada, which is not where I live, but close.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, I am here in beautiful Aora, Sydney, moving towards high summer. The sun is beaming through my window. I'm looking at the Sydney Opera House and the Harbour Bridge as I speak to you. Just, that's just where I am.
Ah, yes. And summer is definitely not here in the U.S. or Canada.
Canada.
I was going to say it's 41 degrees right now, but then you would probably
doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, you would probably be like, wow, that sounds really hot. But yeah,
too hot.
Yeah. Wrong degree system for both of us here.
Yes.
So before we start here, how have you been enjoying the Traitors Canada?
It's curious, David, because any traitors is good traitors?
Mm-hmm.
Question mark.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, we've just lived through the worst season of all time, which was the Traitors Australia season 2. So, great end game, but 5 minutes doesn't make a season. So I've been curiously detached from it, and I kept waiting to cozy up with some of these players. I kept waiting for...
Cozy up or koozie up?
Koozie up.
Yeah.
Devastated about Koozie because I love her.
Yes.
She was really the only one I was koozing up. I mean, I had opinions as always, as you know, David. I always have opinions. But I don't know what it is that is stopping me from going in feet first. However, watching it is not the pain in the rear that watching Australia 2 was. It's pleasant. Everyone's like, that's why everyone's likable. That's the problem. Now we've got it. That's the problem. But yes, I keep waiting for an engagement, I think. And part of that might be an engagement in the game with the players. Nothing to do with them not finding traitors. Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with that.
Right.
So one of I always like podcasting with you, but one of the reasons I was very keen to come on was to try and talk through my slight ambivalence. But it's not a dislike. I enjoyed it. I'm sorry she's gone because she was my touchstone. And you will know, as no one else will know, you will know someone's still in the game who I'm furious they're still in the game. But at least that's a passion. At least I'm having a passionate reaction.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, let's set up the traitor game. For anyone who is not familiar with this, each of us will lie to one another once during the podcast. The lie can be big or small about the traitors, yourself, or anything else, as long as it is a complete fabrication. However, we are looking for fake facts, not fake opinions. Like, I can't say, I think Mickey is playing a great game and I can't say I completely agree. Right. And for that reason, it would be an obvious lie to both of us anyway. Also, any lie involving numbers needs to be something like an order of magnitude. So I can't say I have 8 pages of notes when I only have 7. I would need to say I have 70 pages of notes or something
Lie.
like that. Yeah, that's probably a lie. At the end of
Although
yeah,
I do know you, David, and
that's
it
true.
might give me pause before I call that
Yes,
out.
that's true. At the end of the episode, we'll put our traitor hunting skills to the test and see if we can detect the other person's lie. So, Sarah, are you ready to
Yes.
betray me?
Oh, completely.
Okay. All
Are
right.
you ready to betray me?
Oh, yes. In that case,
I think we're supposed to say that we're not. Yeah, I think we're supposed to say that we're faithful and couldn't possibly betray each other.
Right. Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously. We're, both faithful. All right. Well, we begin the episode. We head straight to breakfast as Donna and Leroy walk in first. Last week, I said if I were Mike and Kuzi, I would have kept Travon because he's perpetually wrong. And I would have murdered May because she was coming too forcefully for Kuzi. And then I would have acted all upset that, the real traitors think I'm so stupid that I would do something so obvious. And so that was my prediction coming into it. And as it turns out, that's a pretty good prediction. For once.
Do you think a pretty good way to play it? I think Mike's particularly pleased.
Yes, yeah. I think for 50% of the traders, it was a good way to play it. Now, Leroy is pretty calm about the fact that they keep knocking out the faithful, saying it's just part of the process, which I like that. If you're faithful, it doesn't matter who goes, as long as it's not you.
Yeah,
and you keep positioning yourself well, then you're good. He also says they need to stop focusing on the whole blue team versus red team thing from the airport, to which I say, hallelujah. And they both discuss Mike a little bit before Mike and Mickey walk in. Mickey says he thinks himself and Donna are being kept in because they're so gullible.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And then he claims,
but he does go on to say that he is faking his gullibility, and I go, Mickey, now you've stretched it now. No,
yeah,
no, Mickey, no.
I mean, Mickey is faking his gullibility the same way Bowie Jane was a brilliant Big Brother U.S. player, just pretending the whole time. So sorry to diss your fellow Aussie there.
Oh, please, as I said live on stage. I can't say it here, but she's a country woman is what I said. Yes, luckily that wasn't recorded. And the 8-year-old in the room had no idea what I'd said. So,
good.
But boo, Bowie Jane, just to jump the rails for a moment. Yes. She's not an Australian.
You've revoked her citizenship?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, single-handedly, because I'm allowed to.
Who knew we had someone with such power here?
Yes, exactly.
Meanwhile, Donna tells Mike that his name has come up, but he's not on her radar. And, she agrees when he says he's played an honest game. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, that's very psychic, Donna, who said that. Yes. Gurleen is next, then Travon. So, yes, as I mentioned earlier, I was right. First prediction that I got right this season, I think. Travon doesn't understand how he's still there or what game the traitors are playing. Yeah, we know. We know, Travon.
We know. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Then, of course, Kuzi joins breakfast and people seem happy, which makes Kuzi happy. So May is gone. We flash back to Traitors Tower. Kuzi says May nearly got her, but she got May first. And Mike tells us if Kuzi gets out of this one, she's the real magician. When May gets the news, she says it's because they couldn't manipulate her. It
confirms that she's a kind person, David, she says. Confirms that she's a kind person.
Yes.
She's a kind of person. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. All right, you're almost killing me here.
Sorry,
that's okay.
If you get out of this, you are the real magician.
Yes. She did say she hopes the traitors win because the faithful suck. I have nothing to argue about there.
Yeah. But that's just like people saying, "Oh, I was in traffic." It's like, no, you're not in traffic. You are the traffic.
Yes, exactly.
May you are the faithful.
Yes. All right. Well, Gurleen tells us she thinks Kuzi is a traitor, but hasn't told anyone else. Leroy doesn't know. Donna is clueless as ever. Mike tells us he's going to war and drops Kuzi's name to Donna and Leroy. Meanwhile, Kuzi does what I expected and tells Gurleen that someone took out May to keep the heat on her. And Gurleen gives Kuzi the opportunity to say something bad about Mike, but Kuzi tells us she still wants to protect Mike. Yeah, the feeling isn't mutual.
No, as she will, spoiler, find out.
Yes. Yeah.
What? Why? Why is one? I mean, they have to turn on each other at some point. So is it a question of who blinks first? Because Kuzi doesn't tell us why it's not that she knows she must at some point, but she doesn't tell us there's only 7 of them left. Why, as far as Kuzi is concerned, is it not time for Kuzi to turn on Mike?
So they had a discussion, I think it was last episode. It might have been the end of the previous episode. I can't remember for sure. Where Mike said, I don't want to get you out because then I would have to blackmail somebody. And looking at these candidates, nobody there is really good. And I don't want to have to deal with that. And we've been working well together. And she said, yeah, same. Everything you said is the same for me. And I agree. Blackmail. Yeah. I hate the blackmail portion of the game.
And we're getting it next episode,
Right.
I mean, that was a question I had for you. At the end of episode 7, they said, oh, we can't recruit because everyone would refuse.
Right.
And it wasn't even a discussion between them. And I thought, did I miss something? How do we know? And under what circumstances would someone refuse? I mean, it's not like blackmail where it's, join or die.
Right.
But it is, in essence, join or die, because if you refuse a recruitment, you must be murdered next, surely. What do you think has happened? Have we seen enough evidence to know that someone would refuse? Sorry, I've derailed your train.
No, it's fine,
David. But
I believe that in this episode, unless I'm mistaken, I believe Kuzi made a comment. I don't think I'm imagining this. That said, because they were talking about recruitment, whether it's at breakfast or right after. And I think Kuzi made a comment that said
everyone agreed that they wouldn't be recruited. But
it's, oh yeah, she said something like, I had a feeling there wouldn't be a recruitment because everyone was saying they wouldn't be. So we didn't see it, but she is telling us, it's the old, on TV, the adage should be show, don't tell. But sometimes on these reality shows, it's tell, don't show. And, we'll see it on other shows, like on Survivor. It's hard to show how important someone is in the game. So you'll see a couple people saying, oh, that person is really important in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what we're getting here, is we're kind of getting retroactively hearing about this.
But I mean, if it was in a group setting, why would you think that everyone's telling the truth?
Well, that's true, too. I mean, but I don't know who they would have recruited. I think we went through it. And I mean,
who?
Leroy, but I mean, you don't want to recruit someone strong.
Would have been
at this
hilarious
point.
If they recruited May.
Yes, May or Trevon. I think
recruit Donna. That's what I say. Recruit Donna and push her in front of the. I think in front of the train.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody would believe it. That's the other problem. Yes. You don't want to recruit someone who's going to win.
Yeah, and you don't want to recruit someone who couldn't conceivably have been a traitor from the beginning.
Right, and so you need, what the perfect time to recruit someone would have been when the game didn't allow them to recruit someone. When they put people on death row. They were getting ready to recruit someone that they could throw under the bus. And instead, the game forced a different route on them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think Gurleen would have been a good choice, again, a couple of episodes ago. They're sort of painted themselves in a corner. And I also think that Kuzi has had in her mind even though she's sort of thinking I have to cut Mike at some point, she has said to him a number of times, it's us till the end, us till the end. So I think she's thinking of some kind of slippery end moment where she does it. Whereas Mike, I'm jumping ahead. Sorry, David. But whereas Mike fine. Quite rightly is taking the move at what I believe in my heart of hearts, truthfully, is a good moment to round on Kuzi.
Yeah. I'll have more thoughts of that at the end, I think, just because it's a topic that we discuss a lot in Survivor. And so it's interesting to have it come up here. Back in the episode, Mickey's name comes up a couple times in conversations because if anyone hasn't been suspected, it's him. I mean, yeah, I guess. But if he were actually a traitor playing like he has been, it would be amazing. But he's not, and it's not. He's just there for the ride. So they go on the mission. Well, they don't go. It's right there for them. 3 players are randomly picked to stand on trapdoors. The remaining group and the 3 are asked questions where the answer is one of the 3 players' names. Each time the answers match, they win $500. The first time they hear their name, a balloon is popped or let go. The second time, they're dropped. So it's sort of similar to, well, no, actually it's not. I don't know that we've seen a game like this. At first, I thought it was going to be like the one where they were on the big wheel and answering questions, but this is specifically about only the 3 of them. So I think that's
what makes it different.
Yes. So then the 3 worst faithful are picked first. Travon, Donna, and Mickey. Nobody wants to be stuck on a deserted island with Donna. The group thinks Travon is definitely faithful, but only Travon agrees, and the others say Mickey. And then everyone says Travon has lied the most, going back to his stupid, I'm a waiter, I'm a server lie, and he's dropped through the trapdoor, which is highly amusing to me.
And it should be noted, and I didn't realize this, but once you go through that trapdoor, you can't hear the questions and answers anymore.
Right.
You are sequestered from very valuable information, and you have to rely on your fellow players to tell you what the questions and answers were. Now, look, I don't know, how valuable it is, apart from a question about Kuzi, which will come up. But that I thought was a curious byproduct of how the game was played, that I thought, I don't understand that. There being only 3 to choose from, in my memory, on the big wheel with the touchy subjects, you could answer anybody in the game. But here you can only answer from the 3 standing on the trapdoors.
Yeah, and I think that's to get them through the trapdoors. What I didn't realize was that a new person was going to be drawn every time someone went through the trapdoor. I was like, oh, okay. And so Gurleen is called up. Then everyone says Mickey has revealed the least about himself. So apparently he's being as vociferous in person as he is on TV. And same for who they would confidently put their lives in their hands. So you don't know anything about him, but you'll put your life in his hands. Okay. So he's gone, and Kuzi is called up. Who is the least useful in the hunt for the traitors? Donna says Gurleen, but everyone else says Donna, and so away she goes.
She didn't see it coming, though, David.
No, she didn't, and she should have. To be replaced by Mike. Who is the most two-faced? So you've got Mike and Gurleen on the trapdoors. Leroy is the only one left as the answerer for what I had called the group before. Everyone picks Kuzi except Kuzi, who picks Mike, which is, the question you were talking about earlier. Like, interesting.
Yes. Corinne calls it the circus. Let's see what the circus said.
Yes.
Sure. She can do no wrong.
Yeah.
But sure.
I don't know if she could do no wrong, but yes.
Hey.
Oh, wait, Kuzi or Corinne?
Corinne.
Okay. Well, we'll get to one thing that she did wrong later, but
okay.
Well, her, yeah. Anyway,
her handler.
Yes.
Handler. I like her outfit here. She's wearing tweed because she's cold, but there's a little cutout over her chest
Yes,
because obviously that bit's a little bit hot.
Yeah.
The rest of her's very cold.
Yes,
I love her so much.
Last week she was, I believe, the first Traitors host to ever show their belly button on, so.
See, Roger, take note for season 3.
Yeah, yes. Next question, whose behavior has changed the most? Kuzi and Gurleen say Mike. Mike says Kuzi, so does Leroy. Which I don't understand Kuzi's behavior changing. I think she's pretty much been the same, but okay. So they drop her through the trapdoor that ends the game. They make $9,000, which is pretty good for them. But Kuzi isn't thrilled about people saying she's two-faced, which, she'd be even less happy to know later. Mike tells Gurleen he's even more confident that Kuzi is a traitor than he was about Melissa B. He gives a number of reasons to her and then Trevon, such as her being a 911 operator, but blowing up the situation instead of diffusing it. And it's like, she wanted to blow up the situation. That was her whole goal. So that one, that's a weird one, but it seems to hit home. And I think I saw Kuzi on social media say something like there was a lot more to that previous roundtable related to her being a 911 operator. So that could have been why he specifically brought it up.
It's like when people say, well, you're an actor, so you would be very good at acting in this real life situation. I mean, it's very strange. If you're a firefighter, is it like, well, you're a firefighter, so there's a fire in the hearth.
Yeah, you wouldn't inflame the situation. Yeah,
and you're going to throw sand on the fire and the fire. But it's people. Yes, they're. I was going to say religion. What do I mean? Profession. Their profession says something about them, but they are not doing their profession while they're playing traitors. It's such a strange line to draw, and yet people who have used it knowingly in many of the Traitor seasons now that we've seen have done so very successfully. And whether it's because they have persuaded the people that it's valid or the people are just latching on because it's something to latch on to, I don't know. But this 911 operator thing took me completely by surprise because I thought, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, you can be a perfectly calm person at work and blow up elsewhere, and it was clear Kuzi wanted to blow those situations up. Yes. It benefited her to blow those up. And so, I mean, but hey, Mike, he saw what he could use and used it. So
successful.
Yeah. Kuzi talks to Trevon and pushes the Mickey narrative because he says so little. Mickey. Really? Are we really aiming at Mickey now? I mean, I understand the whole concept of we have to think about people who we haven't thought about before. But Kuzi really thinks Mickey is going to catch on?
It just isn't. I mean, we're not there, but it just isn't credible. Both Kuzi and Mike have made, and Mike makes a serious verbal slip twice in this episode. But they are, you want to look for people who are active in some way. Whether, like Kuzi, as they say, she said one name in the scramble beforehand and then she votes a different way. Or you're looking for someone who actively doesn't say a name, but someone who's just sort of pudding along. Mickey and Donna, sorry. But just pudding.
Yeah.
Like if they were traitors, there'd be better actors than our lovely girl from the UK.
Yes.
Who played a body. I mean, there's got to be something going on. There's got to be something there. I can see why Mary would have been a great choice. I can see why the second Melissa would have been a great choice.
Yes.
Gurleen I would buy.
Yeah.
I'd almost buy Trevon, so that his bumbling, because his bumbling's been very active bumbling. But I think Kuzi selected her target incorrectly and could have played on the sort of the same thing that Gurleen says, at the round table, which is Gurleen's my friend and I can't believe I'm saying her name. But I've been blinded to, because she's active, if not pushing, for someone or another, she's sort of actively in the game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mickey was a choice, I think.
Yeah, I think that, and we'll discuss. It comes up at the round table, but I think that she probably wanted to keep her people, which is a good plan. If you have people who you believe trust you and will take you, will go with you willingly to the end, it's a good plan. It's just at some point you need, a reasonable target, and I don't think that Mickey was a reasonable target.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyway, later Leroy asks Trevon about Mike, and they agree he's been coasting and using other people's information and just kind of spitting it back out there, which is literally the same thing Kevin said about Mike weeks ago. And now they're acting like this is something new. And it's like, no, Kevin told you this. Mike talks to Kuzi.
And then he went,
Yes. Yeah. Mike talks to Kuzi, but tells us he's, acting like they're working together, but he's using it to get gossip on her. So while she's providing him information to hopefully help defend her, it's pretty clear he plans to use it against her. But wait, Karine shows up out of nowhere wearing an outfit that I mentioned earlier was a mistake. The huge bow on her chest that sticks up so high around her face. Let's face it, I'm never going to wear this outfit anyway.
It's called fashion, David. Look it up.
I couldn't look it up. I could look up, but I couldn't look to the side because the bow is so big. So yeah, I'm never going to. So but still. So she shows up in this, and the players
would like to see you in it, David. Yeah, I would like to see it.
I'll have to message
And
her.
That's not a lie, because I'm not allowed to lie about matters of opinion.
Right. So the players immediately expect a twist, but she claims it's just a nice dinner on the terrace. Yeah, sure, Karine.
And that they are surprised when it isn't.
Right.
Well, have they ever watched a television show before?
Yeah, exactly.
Any television show, not just other traitors.
Any fictional television show, yes.
Any show. Dinner is never dinner.
Yeah. So they're at dinner. Karine joins them, and we do indeed get a new twist. There will be either a murder or a banishment. To avoid the murder, players must unanimously agree on banishing. And if one person chooses murder, there will be no banishment. If they do agree to banish and they get a traitor, it'll add $10,000 to the pot. But if it's a faithful, it will subtract $10,000. This is public, so there's really no way that any traitor is going to say anything but banish, even though it puts them in danger, because saying no, we want to murder puts them in a lot more danger. So yeah, it takes zero time to debate this, pretty much. They say some things, but can you think of any reason that anyone would say murder?
Only a traitor. It buys them another day. Depends if a day is a long time in the traitors. We know 3 days is a long time in old school Survivor. In 39 day Survivor, 3 days is a long time. But it only buys them here until tomorrow, and the target is huge. What you need to do is get someone who isn't a traitor to say, to be worried about losing the $10,000.
Right. Worried enough. But
here's the thing is they just made 9,000. So even if they lose 10, they're only minus 1,000 on the day.
Yeah. And so it's, I can't see it ever happening, honestly. And I think producers knew that. I think, if anything, this is something I've talked about before, that the game does tend to slant towards the traitors. And so this is kind of something to help maybe nudge the scales a little bit back towards even with the faithful.
Yeah. I'd be interested, David. I know you just said you can't, but is there any way that anybody not a traitor would say murder. I mean, if they felt heat on them, if they had been told they were the next to be banished.
I guess, but
the scrambling that seems to go on in this with this particular group of people, there's a lot that we don't see, but it doesn't seem like we sometimes see where people know their name is coming up. They might have heard their name here and there, but with 7 people, you hear every name. And I suppose if you're Donna, you're sort of blissfully sort of unaware that your name will ever be written down.
And it may never be.
Once you that and may never look, she may be the winner, David. What can I say?
Yes.
If you're Travon, you might be worried about being at the round table. But again, his knowledge that he isn't a traitor probably leads him to feel bulletproof at the table. And if it weren't for Mike, putting his sights onto Kuzi, Travon, which Travon doesn't know that Mike's going to do.
Right.
Because Travon doesn't know who the traitors are.
Yeah.
Travon could easily have been banished, particularly as at breakfast, he wondered how the hell he was still there, as did a number of the other players. Yeah, I sort of talked myself round now to saying, maybe a Travon maybe could say murder, but I still don't think he'd do that.
No, he wants the money in the pot. I know he makes a comment later that he said later on, he says he hopes they get a traitor tonight because he can really use the 10K. And my thought immediately was, oh, Travon.
It's not yours, Travon.
Exactly. Even if it's added to the pot, it'll never be yours.
Yes.
But it's... I think he has gotten past the point of danger. He was in danger early, and then he was so bad that it just passed him by, that he managed to make it past that point. So I think he is pretty safe right now. I think he'll be at the end. One way or the other, he'll be at the end. But the traitors could end up killing him before then, but we're getting close to there's only 2 more episodes. So,
exciting, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, we get to the round table, and Mike surprisingly opens discussions by saying he could say something small about everyone at the table, but he's going to start by ripping a hole in Kuzi.
Which he had asked her if she wanted him to do, and she had said no.
I know, and then he does it anyway, and she's like,
it was perfection.
Yes. And he asks why Melissa claimed Kuzi said her name, and Kuzi says she made it up. Now, this is the thing. Kuzi's right. As far as we know, Melissa was totally wrong about this whole situation. But Mike believed it, and furthermore, Mike can use it. So he continues grilling her, and Kuzi tells us nobody has anything on him, so they can listen. They'll listen to what he says. And this is where he notes that she's been bringing people along for the ride to hit them later. Which, let's face it, it is a smart traitor tactic, as he would know. And then Travon asks if she has any theories on who might murder May to frame her. And she doesn't have a very good answer, just saying it would be someone not linked to May. And I expected a better answer out of her than this. I think at this point, she's kind of a little bit in shock. But wait, she's a 911 operator. She can't ever have that happen. Yeah. Then
it's not her leg that's detached and hanging off.
Yes, exactly.
She can be very calm.
So then she switches back to Mike, noting that Gurpiar, Mary, and Kevin all brought up his name and then were then gone. And now he's brought up these things, about her to hide behind her. And he has a very good comeback to note it's odd how she never said these things about him until he brought up things about her. And she acknowledges it, which, again, only serves to hurt her case. It's like she's been holding on to these things. And then he attacks her and she lobs it back. But the problem is the person responding is almost never going to get the upper hand here.
Yes. And it's always a very bad look if you have to say, let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd. It's like you almost have to let someone talk over you, wait till they're finished and say, well, if I can make my point, or say that you did bring the information up. I did bring the information up, just not at a round table.
Yeah. Well, then he might go around and say, okay, who here heard that from her?
Well, everybody that's gone.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
You know.
What a coincidence. All the people that you murdered.
All the people that I mentioned it to are gone.
Yeah.
How does that work? It's interesting. It's like she couldn't switch over into targeting him.
Yeah.
She could only think about defending herself against him.
Right.
And you're right. She never brought up Mike's name. She did what she tells us that she did, as far as we saw.
Right.
Which is that when Mike's name comes up, she doesn't vociferously defend him.
Right.
She appears to consider him.
Mm-hmm.
So she might have said, Mike, that's interesting. I hadn't thought, or why do you think Mike? Yeah. Or, it would be foolish to not say everybody.
Right. But that goes back to, last episode where Melissa didn't have a reason, which, lesson for all future Traitors players. If you're going to say so-and-so brought something up, you better have a reason for it. That's one of the main reasons Melissa was banished, was she had no answer, and so she just, it looked terrible. It looked like it was a terrible lie, and she probably wasn't lying. I mean, it looked like a lie. If it was a lie, it was a terrible one. I think it was just a misunderstanding, a misremembering, a misread, a miss something.
Mm. Yes, and I had been sort of interested in Melissa up till then. I thought, if not a very strong player, like a contender, she was active, believable as a traitor because of those things, I think. But she was only thinking of the next step rather than the one after. And I wonder if it's easier as a traitor to think about, well, if this, then that.
Yeah.
If you are faithful, you're only thinking of step one. Or if you're faithful, you have picked the traitors and you are choosing not to eliminate them, which is a hard dance. And we saw certainly with Annabelle in Australia too, which ended at episode 5, when she was spoiler bonus. We saw with her game that she played it that once she figured out who the traitors were, she would stay close to them and not mention their name. But it was hard to walk that line while appearing to be an active participant in the traitor hunt. And I don't know how you walk that fine line.
Yeah, it is hard. And, Kevin tried to, except he didn't realize he had already been close to a traitor for the whole game, and tried to get close to someone else who he thought was a traitor who wasn't. And then just, announced too much of his game, at the time. But, coming back to now, Kuzi does have a good and logical argument in response to Gerline mentioning her saying, and this you had mentioned earlier, her saying she was going to vote one way and then ending up voting another. Yeah, minds change at the round table. And I discussed this either last week or the week before. This isn't a Survivor tribal council or a Big Brother, voting ceremony, whatever you want to call it. Those things don't change. Nobody goes in there and suddenly it's a big surprise. Tribal councils, people say they're live tribal councils. Oh my gosh, what could happen? Very, very rare. Round tables.
Unless you're sticking to the plan.
Yes, exactly. Round tables are live almost every week. And I think a big part of it is because they don't have much time to talk. I mean, we see them out there talking to each other, but like on Survivor, you can literally talk game for, 48, 72 straight hours. Here, you can only talk game when you're together, and then you're separated otherwise. So we hear people saying, yeah, I didn't get a chance to even talk to this person today. And,
and watching it, you think, well, why didn't you? But we know that the producers invite a player to go and talk to another. Wouldn't you like to go and talk to that person? I mean, they are producing a show. It's not that they're not putting their finger on the scale. They're not giving anything away. I don't believe that. But when they say I haven't had a chance to talk to the person, they literally mean that. Between the breakfast, which is very public, and then the challenges where they're signally failing to get a lot of money, or a meal where everybody's there.
Right.
But they're literally,
and then their own individual confessionals.
Exactly. They're being taken off for confessional. So what if you want to speak to someone there in confessional, you can't get to them. So, and I absolutely 100% do not mean, and I would be absolutely against anyone saying that the producers are putting their finger on the scale. They only do that by the nature of the game,
right?
But not by other means. And so, yeah. But if survivors say, "Oh, I haven't spoken to this," we haven't ever really spoken. You've been there for a week.
Yeah, then it's your own fault. Yeah,
with nothing to do, literally nothing to do.
Yeah.
So so I think these roundtables are very live, and here Kuzi did act very well, because she said, "Has anyone else at the table come in with one name and changed their minds?" And people graciously agreed that they had.
Yes. So then we head towards the end. The way this roundtable has gone, as I'm watching it, and the kind of sad music that's playing, tells me Kuzi is on her way out. She was pretty much the only one even discussed. I mean, Mickey was discussed earlier, but other than Kuzi raising his name, I don't even know if she raised his name once in the roundtable that we saw. And so it's like, they're not even pretending that this is going to be anything other than a Kuzi elimination. I actually thought it was going to be unanimous, Kuzi, but Travon stays true to form.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
He votes the wrong way every time. Now, technically, he is right. He voted for a traitor.
He voted for a traitor, right?
It's just nobody else thinks that, and it should have been pretty obvious which traitor you should have voted for here. Kuzi votes for Mike with 3 exclamation
marks. Yes.
And I immediately wonder,
naughty girl.
Yes, if this will be seen as a signal, and indeed, if we skip a little ahead to the previews, we will see that Travon, of all people, picked up on the same thing. So
I feel very strongly, and here's the sort of the purist game player in me. I believe that they shouldn't be allowed to put anything but the letters of someone's name. Not a smile, not a sorry, not a not sorry,
not
an exclamation mark, not a question mark. Yeah. They should be instructed, just spell the person's name correctly if you can, incorrectly if you don't know how to spell it.
Yep. But here we have it. And so Kuzi goes to the Circle of Truth, says she's enjoyed meeting them all and really has been killing it in the game. Literally. And so she adds with a smile that they win $10,000. And so finally, after all this time, they get their second traitor and they celebrate madly.
Yeah. Interestingly, Donna didn't have anyone to hug.
Yeah.
I just noticed, I can't help it, but they all rushed together and she was sort of marooned on the other side of the table. I don't think it means anything. It's just what happened.
And so I like the way Kuzi went out. Some people
loved it.
Bitter or mad, but she was just like, hey, great game.
Yes. Yes.
So
I've enjoyed her all game.
Oh, yeah. I've loved her since the first moment she was on the screen. Now, getting back to what you were talking about earlier about when to strike, I really thought Kuzi would do this to Mike, not the other way around.
Agreed.
And as much as I loved her the whole season, she just was not prepared for Mike to turn on her like this. In the past, she's been able to shut people down, but I think she was just, I think she was so shocked that she couldn't do it. Like she had told us the previous couple of roundtables, she's like, if they come for me, I'm going to rip them apart. And we didn't hear that this time. So she wasn't ready. And also because I think she knew that she could poke at Melissa, poke at May, and get them to react certain ways. Mike wasn't going to react that way. He was not going to fall for it.
Well, especially as he started the
Right.
attack, as you say, the defender is necessarily on the back foot.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there we have it. She is out. Next week, Mike has to blackmail. And this is where I think things could go wrong for him, because, and this is where we get to the question of whether he should have waited. I think his situation is similar to one that I've discussed a lot on Survivor, where the question is, if you're a threat, when do you go against the other threats? Because if you do it too soon, then people start going, oh, it's time to vote out all the
then
threats.
You're the
And it
next
comes
in
back
line.
on you.
Yes.
If you do it too late, one of the other threats that gets the jump on you. And I think it's the same with being a traitor. I think that, in this situation, Mike, I believe, was spurred into action by Melissa claiming that Kuzi said his name. I don't know necessarily that he would have done it this week if not for that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yes, I buy that. It feels like the right time. He doesn't know that he's going to be compelled to blackmail. I'm not sure why the game can't.
I think he
can't
does.
Just leave one trade. Why can't they just leave one traitor in?
Because if they get the next traitor at the next round table, then there's no more traitors. And
very true, but not to spoil, other seasons. But in the original Devaradas, there were four of the final four were not traitors.
Is this one of the non-English versions?
Yeah, one of the non-English versions. Fascinating.
Okay.
And they got down to two before they agreed that the game was over. So it is possible but if there's only two more episodes,
right?
Say they banished Mike at the next table. Now you have a fascinating 5 people, all faithful, who have to make an agreement to finish the game or not. I think that's fascinating. The producers clearly don't agree with me.
Right. I mean, I think to the producers, it's called the traitors, not the faithful. And
as always, yeah, exactly.
I mean, and also, so let's look at it this way. Let's say they do get Mike next time, and he doesn't have to blackmail. So he murders someone. So it's what, Mike and... Did you say it would be 4 others then? No, he doesn't get to murder anyone. Duh. Sorry, yes. They chose not to. So it's Mike and 5 others. They go to the round table. They banish him.
Yes.
They've known all along that there has not been a recruitment. So they would all know there are no traitors left.
So this is how it actually, this is why banishment or murder, cake or death, works here, because if you blackmail tonight, which he's going to be compelled to do, no one knows, because they're not expecting a murder, because they voted they voted for banishment, not murder.
Right.
So yes, all right, okay, producers, okay, all right. If you want another traitor, this is the way to conceal the recruitment / blackmail.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that aspect of it. I was just thinking, of the end game. I mean, I wouldn't mind if there was still suspicion about how many traitors there were. I would not mind seeing 4 faithful go to the end and have to vote each other out.
Yes.
To see what happens. That
it'd be 5.
Aspect. Yeah.
In this version.
4 or 5, whatever.
4 or 5.
Right.
I think it's fascinating. And this isn't a spoiler, but Australia 1 started with 4 traitors, and I believe it's not confirmed in other games how many they are. People tend to assume that there are 3. In the US, they lost track of them to their. But yes, I mean, the interesting thing would be to get, if they. So this is pure fantasy now, but so there's no blackmail. They vote out Mike, and then the 5 of them look at each other and go, oh, there must be another one.
Yeah.
We must have started with 4.
Right. Well, I would like to see that, or I'd like to see them play the game. I would like to see Leroy and Gerline. Who else of that group?
I think you just named them.
Yeah, but I'm thinking they'd have to have three in order to vote someone out. Like,
Yes, they could take Donna with them, though.
yeah, take Leroy and Gurleen and Donna and say Trevon, hasn't been helpful to us, so let's just vote him out. Just being forthright and honest, kind of like Kevin was, and saying it has nothing to do with whether you're a faithful or a traitor. It's the game. I don't want to split the money with you.
Mm-hmm.
And do that the whole way down to Leroy and Gurleen splitting the money.
Yes. Yes.
So,
but as you say, it's called the Traitors.
Yeah.
They want the possibility of a traitor getting to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you notice? Can I just sort of rewind slightly?
Sure.
When Mike and Gurleen, before the round table, Mike is talking to Gurleen. He drops Kuzi's name, and he twice says, "One of you." If a traitor doesn't get banished, they'll come for one of you. And he twice says one of you, and she didn't pick it up.
Okay, wait. Say that again.
Brilliant.
Say that again.
So Mike says to Gurleen, where he should have said one of us,
he
said one of you twice. They'll murder one of you.
Wow, I didn't catch that either.
Yes.
I thought he was talking about like her and one other person specifically, maybe.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt because he seems to have been extremely careful this day. He even tells us it's very difficult, right. And he's had to hold his nerve. And I mean, he had to be very thoughtful about the day and how to play it, including calling Kuzi two-faced up on the stand, including calling her out for having changed her behavior when she signally has not.
Right.
So it's been a whole day for him. So I was very surprised that he would make such a slip. But maybe David, you're right.
Yeah.
In that he was talking about you, Gurleen, and another person.
Yeah, the one
because
slip,
otherwise that's a major slip.
Yeah, the one slip that I noticed, and I didn't even know why they left it in there, was at one point Mickey said something about Mel B suggesting that she was a faithful or something like that. And I'm like, Mel B was a traitor. Do you not even remember that far back? He must have meant Mel A or whatever, but I don't know why they left it in there other than maybe that's the only clip they had of Mickey talking.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Both of them are entirely possible. One of the ones that I think is more true is that he forgot she's a traitor.
Yeah.
He thinks they haven't got a traitor yet.
I mean, it was a long time ago.
For them, no.
Well, that's true. It's been a week.
A week and a day. Yes, exactly. Because an episode is a day, I believe. Right.
There may be
2 days.
Down
I think there might be
in there.
Yeah.
But
a little bit of fudging. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, as we're looking ahead and everything else, I still don't see how Trevon can possibly win. And, I want to say nothing against him, but some of the things I've said and some of the TikToks I've made would suggest otherwise. But
do you want to share with the class?
Well, just I hope he doesn't, because it would just be
He's played so poorly, but at least he's played.
He has played, but
very badly.
Yes. And I'm not a fan of people lucking into a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's tried and tried and tried, but he's bad. He's bad. He was bad from the start with his dumb lie. And he's, so
he gives me strong Quentin vibes.
Yes. I'm sorry. He seems like a nice guy.
Absolutely.
I don't want him to win. But I worry about it.
Either Mike or Gurleen to win, frankly.
Yes. Well, I worry about Trevon because of how much screen time he's had.
He's had a lot of screen time, more than Gurleen has.
Yes, more than Gurleen, more than Leroy, especially more than Mickey. As a matter of fact, Mickey had so little that I forgot to include him in that list originally, and then I had to go add him to my notes. Well,
when I started taking notes, I said Donna and Thingy come to breakfast, and I had to find out what Leroy's name was.
Oh.
He's not a bad player. He's not a bad person. He's just so well, because it took me 2 episodes to separate him and Kevin and what's his face, whose now name I don't remember his name now, but they were just these 3 blocky white men, and then I had to figure out. Huh?
Is it Dominic?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Ernie? Was there an Ernie?
No, there was a Daryl, I think. Colin?
No.
I might be making up names at this point.
This is fascinating. This is a fascinating broadcast.
Yeah, wow. We're just making up names at this point. Yeah.
Yes. So Leroy, I think, with a different edit could have piqued our interest. So I can only assume that he doesn't do anything interesting, because I don't believe it's because he hasn't given them enough to edit him well. I think it's the outcome, because when he talks game, he talks good game, and he seems to have made relationships, and he seems to make plans, but we see so little of him that I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping for Mike at this point.
I'd like it to be Gurleen, but I believe it's Mike, and I would be very happy, because the work that he did this day was a very good day's work.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want it to be whoever he blackmails, because
you don't come in episode 9 and win in episode 10.
Right. I mean, they also have no choice in the matter. It's not a game move at that point. It's you must be a traitor. You've spent this whole time pretending, or not pretending, reinforcing that you're faithful. So of course everyone's going to believe you based on that. So yeah, he needs to choose well, so he can then throw them immediately under the bus.
So who should it be then?
Oof. Who got the most heat in this roundtable and other discussions? I mean, Kuzi was trying to name Mickey, but that, the fact that she was a traitor makes Mickey even more immune. Travon not voting for Kuzi, could it circle back to him again?
Yeah.
But then one thing we did see in a preview, and I hate to use this information, but they showed it to us. In a preview, we see Mike and Travon talking in the house, and it seems to be a regular conversation, not a "you blackmailed me" conversation. So
I think Travon's the obvious one, but I don't know that it's going to happen. I think you would be foolish to blackmail Gurleen, because she has the smarts to turn it right on to you.
Yeah.
Leroy?
I think it has to be Leroy.
I think it has to be Leroy.
Or Mickey. I mean, you could almost blackmail Mickey. Well, no.
I just feel like Mickey and Donna are so floppy that they could flop over onto your game and extinguish it.
Right.
Whereas I think Leroy has the smarts and the game mind, and is going to be trying to get out of the predicament he's in. And therefore, ... I think it's tough. I think this is really tough. This group of 5 that Mike has to choose from is extremely tough. You sort of want to say Travon, but no, I don't think so. I think that his choice should be Leroy. I've talked myself round to it. Took me a while to get there.
I think so. And then Mike just has to somehow steer the conversation to get rid of him right away.
Someone whose name has never come up.
Right.
Yeah. Someone who's active but seems to go along with the group.
And maybe I mean, they all know the rules. They all have a rule book.
Yeah.
And so they know that if it gets down to one traitor, there's going to be a blackmail. You talked earlier about it hiding it, but I think they all know that there has to be a blackmail.
If they're reading the book. If they are indeed reading the book, because apparently it's very thick.
Yes.
So and they're allowed to have it in their room at night. Oh, have you not seen Australia 2, David?
I am not nearly that thick.
Not that thick.
So, I mean, maybe they'll know that someone's been blackmailed and they'll immediately start looking for the least suspicious.
They should be thinking
Right.
that there's been a blackmail or a recruitment, however it may be.
Right.
They should be thinking 2 down, 1 original left. There's got to be a new one.
Yeah.
And I think that if Mike can hold his nerve, he can steer people towards Leroy. And one of the great things is, when have you ever said a name? Yeah. And even if Leroy has said a name, it's like, like trying to bring to mind.
Right.
It's one of those 3 a.m. ones where you say, I should have said, I should have said this. It's hard. We have not been shown Leroy steering any vote.
No.
And that's a really good way to finger someone as a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone trusts you, your name's never come up, and you yourself you've never said a name.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were friendly with Kuzi, which.
Yes, you were cozy with Kuzi.
Yes. So, all right. Well, with that, we will see what happens. Before we wrap things up here, I want to let everyone know about more great stuff we have here on the Traitors podcast, both coming up and posted in recent days. We are still working on some interviews with the Traitors Canada players, so hopefully those will start coming soon. We posted the 4th in our special series, as Matthew and I are covering Survivor UK here on the Traitors. It's not the Traitors, but it is a strategic Survivdar. Yes,
the Survdar.
It is a strategic social game where you stab people in the back. So there are similarities. And of course, for those who may not know this already, Matthew has never seen Survivor, and I, of course, have covered the show in many forums for 23 years. So we're looking at it from those very different viewpoints. Plus, of course, Matthew is actually in the UK. So he is the target audience for Survivor UK. And the one we posted a couple days ago covers episodes 7 and 8 as they're approaching the merge. Next week, as my guest here, we will have one of the winners of the New Zealand season of the Traitors. So I'm looking forward to that. Sarah, you have, of course, already spoken to them. We won't say their name just yet.
Or gender.
Right. And just, if you haven't seen the New Zealand season yet, I urge you to hurry up and do so. And
literally ranked number 1 out of all the Traitors seasons for me.
Yes, it is. It is highly ranked. I consider it, and I will talk to this person about it, I'm sure. I consider it a bit of a different game because so many of them knew each other, because it's New Zealand and there's like only 20 people in New Zealand.
Yes. The host, Paul Henry, there was a voiceover to start with, 18 strangers.
Yes.
And halfway through it was like 18 people. It's like, yeah, they're not strangers.
Right.
Some were, some weren't.
Literally in the first episode, one person's like, oh, I was on Dancing with the Stars with this person, and they drove me home every night after practice. And it's like,
this person introduced me to my wife.
Yeah, right. Yes. I'm a business partner with this person,
Yes.
So,
yes.
So yeah, it's
your guest is a great guest, and I would definitely recommend people listen to them and you next week.
Well, thank you. And speaking of great guests, we have you. So where can everyone find you?
If people would like to find me, I'm at Sarah Carradine on all the things, and over on RHAP Reality TV Wrap-Ups. Murray Forth and I will bring you Crime Scene, SEEN. If we'd thought for 5 minutes about how we'd have to spell the name every time we said it, we might have called our show something else. But it was too clever. It was too delicious.
Yes,
Crime Scene. We review true crime documentaries and docuseries, so you can find us there.
All right. So.
Yes.
It's time to finish the Traitor game.
Ooh. Ah.
I'm so excited.
Did you lie to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you lie to me?
I did. I normally try to guess first. And See, here's my problem with this game. I've said it before. I get so into the recap and so into the discussion that we're having,
Mm-hmm.
I forget to try to seek out the lie.
Yes.
And so
Same. I have to say, same.
yeah, the only thing I can think of, and I really don't think this, I'm going to be like one of the people at the round table. I really don't think this is the truth or the situation, but I'm going to vote that way anyway. Since I did not catch Mike saying you or one of you, I am going to guess that that's it. But I think I'm wrong because you mentioned it twice in separate situations.
Did I plant a seed though?
Yes. So that's my official guess.
Mm-hmm. No,
I didn't think so.
I could show you my notes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So what is your lie?
It's your Americentricity that has let you down here, David.
Uh-oh.
I said it was high summer. It is spring.
Ah!
It's not a very good lie, I thought I want to get the lie out of the way really early. Otherwise, I'll spend the entire time not listening to you and trying to think of a lie.
I mean, that's pretty funny because if I had thought about it, it's fall here. So obviously it's spring there, but I've already started considering it like wintry here. So yes, I should have. That's very good. That's very good.
I tried to make it a little bit fairer by saying high summer, so not even summer, like high summer, middle of summer, which is January. Yeah. Just in case anyone wants to come and visit. David, you lied to me, did you?
I did. So what do you think my lie was?
I'm going to give my guess, and if it's wrong, which I think it is, like someone at the round table,
yes,
then I would like a hint.
Okay.
See if I can get it.
Okay.
You said about 2/3 of the way through, you said that you had done something, but you forgot if it was last week or the week before. And I find that quite hard to believe.
Yeah. I wish that were.
Oh,
true, no, I couldn't remember. Yeah. Okay.
Damn it. I thought when I heard it, I thought, oh, got it. And then I stopped, maybe I stopped listening for the lie. So, can you give me any hint?
It is a very small lie.
Oh.
It's a very, very small lie. And it is something that we discussed at length.
Oh, you bugger. Is it a lie about a person?
It is a lie about a person.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lie about the host.
You love that outfit.
No, that would be opinion. She was still wearing, when she came out to tell them about the dinner, she was still wearing the outfit with the hole in the chest.
She was. That's absolutely right, because she asked them to do black tie, which according to Mike is no tie.
Yes.
And then this was her black tie outfit. Yes.
Yes.
That's a lovely lie. That's a lovely lie, because I was so outraged at your lack of fashion sense, rather than thinking, hold on, she was wearing the tweed with the cutout. Yes. Oh, lovely lie. Lovely lie.
All right. Well, we successfully lied to each other.
Yes.
And so therefore we would be better than, much of this cast.
Yes.
So
I think that anyway, even before we played the game.
That's true. All right. So there we have it. Episode 8 of the Traitors Canada. Anyone who wants to reach out to let us know what you think. I am all over social media and reality TV podcasting. I podcast about Survivor on the Rob Has a Podcast Network. Big Brother's over. Name of the show is Blank Lost. U.S.
Big Brother Australia is House of Love is in full swing.
Yes. U.S. Big Brother. The one I cover. And you can also find all my various social media accounts and other things through my Linktree at Linktree/David Bloomberg with a dot before the EE. Or you can find me at most text-based social media like Twitter, Blue Sky as at David Bloomberg. And on the video platforms, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram is at David Bloomberg TV. Speaking of TikTok, etc., I've been posting like 3 reality TV short videos on those sites every day. Right now, it is a mix of Traitors Canada, and US Survivor and Survivor UK and House of Villains. And who knows? Now they by the time this is posted, I think the new Netflix series, the name is escaping me all of a sudden. It's the reality version of the very popular
Squid Game Challenge.
Squid Games. Yes. So who knows? We might get some videos of that as well. Although, them dropping it like the day before U.S. Thanksgiving is an interesting choice. So yeah, it'll be a few days before I actually catch that. People should also make sure to check out the accounts for this podcast overall. You can find us on Instagram as @the_Traitors and as Twitter @the_Traitors. You can also email thetraitorpodcast@gmail.com. And if you would like to help support the costs of publishing this podcast, you could drop Matthew a few bucks at coffee.com. That's ko-fi.com/Matthew Keeley. With that, I will be back again here next week. Or you can find me elsewhere in the meantime. And feel free to reach out to both me and Sarah through social media. And we will be seeing you soon. Bye.
Bye.